he wouldn't have had the problems with pay-per-view that Jim Crockett had.
Well, and just the whole thing, that would have
Not controlling interest.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm home. I'm actually not home yet. We'll be tomorrow. Just updating just to say hello. Because I don't have enough footage for like a couple days worth, so I'm gonna combine. I didn't vlog much tonight and I'm tired. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was at school all day too, so like, yeah. Anyway, I have had a really rough day with my anxiety and stuff, so that's part of the problem too. Like, it's not part of the problem, it's always there. It's just some days are harder than others, and apparently it was one of those kind of days today, so yeah, that's fun. Anyway, I will see you guys in the morning, hopefully, if I remember. Bye. Morning, buddy. Hey. Hey. Hi. Hi, Grump. Don't mind my baby voice. Hey. 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 Hi. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come see Auntie.
When I was taking notes and preparing for this episode, if you go to my Twitter account and scroll through my media posts and pics and whatnot, I posted the pic of Boyd and Dusty to peek behind the curtain. This was on November the 21st of 2017, and you are correct. It's big long stem roses on Boyd's suit. As always, I mean, sometimes he's shiny, Brian, gold or silver, and other times he's, a basket full of roses here, or a vase full of roses, so to say.
Dusty's wearing a leather jacket and what appears to be either a cowboy hat or a top hat akin to Slash, but I think it's probably more likely a black cowboy hat. But let's now listen to this introduction of the program and hear what Boyd and Dusty have to say.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action lined up as matchmaker Grizzly Smith presents another outstanding card. It'll be headlined with the North American Heavyweight title on the line, Ted DiBiase, the current champion, defending against the former title holder, the Masked Grappler. Also, Paul Arndorf is here, Coco Samoa, Mr. Olympia, the Mississippi Heavyweight Champion, Bruiser Bob Sweetan, the Junkyard Dog, Brian Blair, and somebody else is here. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest grapplers of all times, in the ring, outside the ring, the American Dream.
You ain't got a color set, go out and steal one. You understand? Get one. Boyd Pierce, the dean of color commentator, Dusty Rhodes, American Dream, the golden boy of Mid-South Wrestling, here to commentate, to help you on the ins and outs. And there's a great match today between the grappler and Ted DiBiase. When you got two champions, one current and one ex-champion, you always got to fight to the finish, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just ready to go, Jack, and I'm going to take my hat off so all the pretty ladies can see my $1 million smile on my face while we're going through this.
Thank you, Dustin. Let's go to the ring now for the introduction of the opening event.
All right, we'll stop it there. There's really not too much to say that Dusty puts over the color of Boyd's outfit. He calls him the Dean of Color, as opposed to the Dean of Wrestling Commentators, Gordon Soley. Boyd Pierce is the Dean of Color itself.
Yeah, he's the Dean of Color. And Brian, did you catch Dusty right there say, if you ain't got a color set, go out and get you one? For younger listeners out there, I know this may seem my household. It would be, it wasn't turn the TV off, it was turn the set off or turn the set down. So he's talking about the go get you a color set, as Dusty said. I thought that was mildly amusing. Maybe I'm easily entertained, Brian.
Your story was just about as entertaining as this opening match will be.
right.
The opening match on this show is Larry Higgins versus Coco Samoa with referee Alfred Neely. Dusty is just on fire here, Mike. We're not going to play any of this because we care about our listeners, but Dusty puts over amateur wrestling, and the most important thing about this match, I thought, was that the old man who's always in the front row with the white cowboy hat actually talks to the woman next to him. So it gives us a little bit of a clue. We can never tell, is he there by himself? Is he with the other old people? He's actually having a conversation with the woman next to him this episode.
Yeah, and he, I think he does it again. Her, and he actually shows signs of life. Like, I mean, he's not jumping up and down, but the fact that he's acknowledging another human being and he's actually moving is pretty amazing to me. I caught that same thing, not in this match, but I did catch it later on. Which I'm sorry if it seems kind of crazy, but it really was pretty amazing that we finally saw him interact with someone. Because we've been talking about how he just sits there and just doesn't do anything. He's just kind of just randomly just, you know, watching with his cigarette, and that's it.
I was especially intrigued because the first time the woman next to him spoke to him, he didn't say anything. He didn't even flinch. And I'm like, ooh, this is so interesting. This guy doesn't even talk to the people that talk to him. And then the second time, you actually see his mouth open a little bit. So it's like, okay, he did communicate back to the little old lady next to him. And again, it's just like a sea of old ladies in the first and second row this week. And it's pretty funny to see. And then this guy's just, he looks like he's all stuffed in right in between them. But back to the match.
Higgins and Coco Samoa. I mean, not to down Coco Samoa at all or Higgins. It's just opening match. I mean, crowd wasn't too much into it. They got into it a couple of times when Coco Samoa, you know, he laid in a couple of chops and different moves and kicks. But for the most part, you're right, man. Not much there. The splash was as you described. He kind of like completely spread out from the second rope because remember, you can't go off the top in Mid-South Wrestling.
And with that, we'll move on to the next match. Paul Orndorff versus your favorite, Frank Monty.
Yeah, he's got some red tights on this time, or close to red, I guess I would call it. He's not in brown. He doesn't look as dull, although he's not as flavorful as he could be with his, or colorful as he could be.
It's all about the haircut and the mustache. But, you know, speaking of hair, one thing I noticed here, if you've ever seen Paul Orndorff in the WWF, this is Paul Orndorff before he started shaving everything. He looks like the Wolfman.
He's got his Robert Gibson thing going with the chest hair. I mean, he's not. Let me be clear, if you're not watching along with us, he doesn't look like Dutch Mantel with the hair on the back and whatnot. But he's got the Robert Gibson thing going. Would you agree with that, Brian? Where, you know, the chest hair is kind of just starting to. You're starting to be able to comb it on Orndorff there.
I guess I never thought of it as the Robert Gibson thing.
Oh, you never think of it like that, Robert Gibson?
I usually don't think of it at all.
Well, I don't fantasize about it at night. But I mean, what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm picturing. Maybe it's because I'm picturing Robert Gibson right now.
Yeah, what are you picturing of Robert Gibson right now?
Well, no, I do the Smoky Mountain reviews, obviously, and Robert Gibson is not old at this point in Smoky Mountain in '93, but he's very hairy. Again, he's not Dutch Mantel hairy, but he's got a bit of an ape suit, so to say. It's nice and fluffy.
Orndorff's hairy and Dusty's all over the place. Let's just give you a small sample of Dusty in action on commentary.
Jacket, and you can hear Paul Orndorff making challenges over here to my sidekick, Dusty Rhodes, but he has a match in the ring right now against Frank Monty, and that'll give him plenty to worry about.
He's got a match with a tremendous athlete who he got a match with. You know, he better worry about Frank Monty. Conditioning, I know Frank's in the gym. The other morning, I was out doing road work, and I know Frank that was on his way to the gym, and he's down there. He's always working out. He's always looking for an upset. Paul Orndorff is trying to say that he's the #1 wrestler in the state and in the country, and he's got to prove it a little bit more. You know, he's a great athlete. He was a great football player. Paul Orndorff see the moves that he's got. They both quick. We're watching now two guys that are in prime, great condition, and are super quick. And I just like to say real quick, a good hello to my old friend Mark Kelly down at Bendo's Truck Stop down by Turkey Creek, Louisiana. Came through the other night, had a couple brew with him.
Monty coming back with that arm drag and holds on to Paul Orndorff.
Dusty certainly mastered the Watts technique of just saying hello to whoever you want to in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
It was the guy from a truck stop? What was that?
He said something about Turkey Creek, and he said something about I didn't catch the name of the area or location, but yeah, I mean, he's in the middle of he's talking about Orndorff worrying about his opponents and then he's trying to call the moves, and then he's like no transition, just immediately to I need to thank my friend that did this truck stop on Turkey Creek, and we had a couple brews. What?
No. He said he came out and had a couple of brews, as if he left his store, to go have a couple drinks with Dusty.
Yes, yeah. Okay. He's just a runaway train here, Dusty.
That's not even the most ridiculous thing. The most ridiculous thing is
out of anybody's road.
Yeah, no, he ain't doing road work. He was driving. and he's like, look at Frank Monty. He's all in red. He looks dull.
Oh boy, good old Dusty. I told you, man, he was wearing me out during this episode. I love Dusty Rhodes. I will always love Dusty Rhodes. His feud with Flair. But Dusty on commentary by himself, not as a color man. I mean, I've heard people criticize his color commentary, but he's not a play-by-play, and this was just a runaway train.
That it was, and Paul Orndorff won, not with his usual pile driver or with the figure four, but with a power slam. I guess just because, and from there we actually do go to what could be a main event match in Mid-South, Mike.
Yeah, the Grappler versus Ted DiBiase for the North American title. Just real quick, Brian, because I think you got a...
Went out on him right there.
There it again.
Watch him, man. Look at him getting loaded like that. Get up, Teddy. He went for it again. He's got it loaded. He went for it again. Teddy's going up. Get out in there, ref. Dive down in there. There one. There it is. It's all over. I like it. Beautiful.
Hey guys, what's up? I just got home, had a nap. I was exhausted, so I clearly needed that. So I will show you some of the stuff that I got from Dollarama today. Even though, actually, nobody I know really watches my videos, so I'm good. Yeah. So let's get started. This is my hat, actually, that I bought on the weekend. So yeah, that's a thing. Alright, I got a bunch of canvases. I got a bunch this size. Like I said, I got a lot. So I got like different sizes. Mostly the same, but I needed them for different projects that I'm doing. Like that's part of my Christmas things that I'm doing. So yeah. Canvases out my you-know-what. Woohoo. It's about to look like it threw up Christmas in here because I got some garland for my room and I'm very excited for it. So yeah. Got me some garland. Woo woo. What else? Some Christmas presents for family. I didn't forget the nuts in the family either. For the littlest one, Maggie. Love you, Megs. Love you, girl. And I got some rawhide shoes. I got, I don't even know. A beef for Link. A beef for Penny. I got them the same because I figured why not do the same because that's not fair if I do more for one and not the other, and right? My treat fell out. And then I got more twinkly lights because I love the twinkly lights in my room. Because as you can see, I already have a set, but I wanted a couple more. So yeah, that's pretty much everything about today. So yeah. Bye! Content, baby, content. Hey guys, what's up? It's currently 3:50 p.m. I'm finishing my vlog, and I will see you later. Bye!